My name is Maxwell Dalrymple. I'm from Section B. And so the first question says, which of the blue ocean pathways should your project company pursue to improve overall profitability? And so my project company is Lyft. And so I think the most important pathway for Lyft to follow is path 6, which is looking across time. Lyft as a company is a result of technological innovation, a result of time, and so it will continue to need to keep up with innovation in order to be successful. Not only looking at past innovation, but also at its future. The article talked about how looking across time doesn't mean predicting the future, because that's impossible, but it's looking at past trends and current trends and trying to see where those things are going and how the company can use these trends to their advantage and find their blue ocean space. And so one very important trend for Lyft to follow is where the phone industry is going, because the phones are really the foundation of their business. The core values of Lyft users are things like convenience, service, the ability to feel safe, price, and so on and so forth. And so Lyft needs to develop their app in a way where they're ahead of the competition in those areas, where the users feel those things and experience those things through their app. Additionally, autonomous vehicles, the future of autonomous vehicles, and the trend that shows that technology is going that way is also a key thing that Lyft needs to capitalize on. If they can get ahead of the competition in that area, then they'll be really successful. But if they let people like Uber get ahead of them, then they'll be left in the dust. Capitalizing on something like autonomous vehicles would really be able to reduce driver costs and other expenses significantly. And so for that reason, I think path 6 is probably the most important. Another path that Lyft should pursue that will help them be more profitable is path 1, which is looking across alternative industries. As you look at Uber, the example of Uber, they have done this really well with things like Uber Eats and so on and so forth. And so I think the article talks about the idea of substitutes and alternatives, and how substitutes is merely trying to replace a competitor, trying to be like a competitor. An alternative, on the other hand, looks at other industries, looks at other things, sees a wider picture, and tries to capitalize on other industries, other markets, other opportunities. And so I think Lyft, rather than trying to be a replacement, rather than trying to be a substitute for Uber, needs to be an alternative that looks at other industries and other markets and sees what they can do. I'm not saying they need to enter the food market in particular, but I'm saying there are other opportunities that they need to look at beyond what they're doing and beyond trying to be just a substitute for Uber. The next question says, if you could make one change to improve your project's company industry level profitability, what would it be and which force does it affect? And so the change I would make is I would expand into other markets. Right now, Lyft doesn't really have a name or presence in the food delivery market or other markets other than just ride sharing. However, I think they should jump in. I think, though, that they should go beyond just food delivery, but I think it'd be cool if they jumped into some sort of market where they had bigger vehicles like in their system that delivered things like furniture and TVs and bigger orders and more than just food. It's something Uber's not really doing right now. And I think it's a way that they could be different, but jump in. And so the reason I say they should do this is that it would help against the forces of rivalry among existing customers and the threat of substitutes. It would help them get ahead of Uber in those areas and help fight against the threat of substitutes. I talked earlier about, with the last question, the difference between substitutes and alternatives. And I think this would help them be more than just a substitute for Uber or something that can be substituted by another service pretty easily, and would help them get into alternative different industries and markets.